The cycle is kind to no one. These are Tarlin's words as Calixto dispatched the half-ogre Gregarious, former member of Cudgel Iron Smile's mercenary army. First, Calixto dispatched the half-ogre by crushing his ribs. Then he lopped off his head, and then brandished by holding the jaw of this giant half-ogre his head and wailed a battle cry.
Hell yeah.
As this is happening, you're all thinking about the different visitors and the different experiences that you had prior to fighting Gregorius. Calixto, you saw intricate armor, the likes of which you've never seen. It would have taken an expert years and years and years to craft this fine armory. Faithful. You materialized at the forge hosted by a giant. It was weird because it was essentially a giant dwarf. Very odd. As if an ant were looking up at a giant. But he was cordial. He was kind. There was no animosity. It felt at the end of it. And Tarlin, you were faced with a variety of questions. Oh yeah, it's the wrong one. That's okay. You were faced with very specifically a voice asking you questions, and then you all faded back into your environment, which was the roaring, crackling sound of flames. You had been encased in a wall of fire out in the field in a place called High Hill. And as you were there, you were focused on rescuing Cudgel Iron Smile, oh God, sorry. It's been a while. Give me 1 second. The very important NPC that we've had referenced 1,000 fucking times. That we'll get back to in just a moment. What's that?
MacGuffin.
Declan.
Declan. No, yeah, Declan, not MacGuffin.
Who's Declan? You know, MacGuffin sounded enough like Declan. I was like, oh yeah. So it's Declan. Good job, Eddie. And then clearly we're all a little rusty on Dragonlance, right? And then also a townsfolk who just ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time. They were captured by Gregorius, who, as I mentioned previously, was a member of Cudgel's army. And Cudgel found out that her army of mercenaries that had previously perished had actually betrayed her. She claimed she knew nothing about this, and it seemed sincere. She was panicked, terrified. The dragon that had just kind of watched from the sidelines was not originally a dragon at all. She was instead this figure right here. Fancily dressed woman in red. Now, you remembered, having watched Faraday's video, that she had once been speaking to this terrifying figure dressed in armor, glowing eyes. There seemed to be some sort of power struggle, or some sort of weird dynamic between them. Which, especially now that you know that she's a dragon, seems perhaps a little odd. Maybe this creature didn't realize she was a dragon. Who knows? There was something a little off, a little tense. And it gave you all a little pause for, maybe not concern, but just pause for reflection. Oh, it's kind of weird. You were able to dispatch the half-ogre. Before that happened, and you have these visions. You remember that you're different. Something's changed after those visions. Calixto, your armor now makes you at times incredibly fast, aka you can cast haste. Aethelflip, you're able to grow in size, and then Tarlin, you're able to cast a ball of fire, which you had not been able to do previously. You had expressed that you want to learn magic, and so when this voice was asking you all these questions, that was certainly the way you were leaning. That's quite important to you. Now, you're thinking about this. The cycle is kind to no one. The cycle is kind to no one. Tarlin's words keep ringing in your ear, but those are not the only things that you're thinking about right now. And as these flames die down, you can see Igneous, the dragon, fly off in the distance. You look down and you can see that the land is scorched. And you can hear over and over again these words replaying in your mind. They're haunting. I'll let you live, but under one condition. You will go to the city and you will tell them everything you've seen. You will tell them that over the hill we have 200 soldiers ready to pounce. You will tell them about me. You will tell them about the smoke and flame. That wasn't all that was said to you. She also offered this. Let me ask you as a parting gift for such an eloquent display. What is more dangerous, a death of chaos or a death of silence? I would like for everyone to roll insight. See if maybe there's something that stands out, perhaps, about these words. Meanwhile, in our previous session, you received no help at all from Becklin with Karen. However, Cudgel definitely joined the fray, and of course the townsfolk offered. So you could tell that Becklin, all I had to do was look at the map, her name's right there. So Becklin didn't help. She didn't engage. She didn't fight the Gorgoras, and she panicked. She didn't lift a blade. She cowered. You know, it does stand out because she is the one who is supposed to be protecting the city. Cudgel, however, joined the fray. I think it's pretty obvious that she felt a way or two about her former mercenary companion. And perhaps, maybe it's going through your mind, maybe it's not, but maybe she wanted to absolve herself of responsibility, or perhaps she wanted to make it appear as though she didn't have anything to do with it. But as far as the information and the evidence, you're not sure. Not definitive. Now, Tarlin, you think this is interesting, and because the dragon mentioned death twice, you know, of course it's going to pique your interest a little further. You're not sure what these words mean, but you know that there's a riddle to be solved. You don't yet know the answer. This definitely stands out to you. You can't stop thinking about it. You're thinking about it over and over again. And that brings us to our session tonight, where the three of you and Faraday are faced with this grave situation. What would you like to do?
If I remember correctly, the dragon wants us to pretty much take over and occupy the town, right?
So Ignea had expressed that she would like for the three of you to convince the townsfolk to stand down, open their gates, and surrender to the army that is poised over the hill. She flies off, and you look. She's heading towards the city. She makes her presence known, and then her path diverts. She goes into the distance, and you can't quite see where she goes. You think this is purposeful, so that she doesn't give away the location of their army. She has also expressed that they would much rather take the city not by force, but by surrender, because it has resources, ships, buildings, etc., that they do not want to destroy. Excuse me. That they do not want to destroy. They could use that manpower elsewhere. So they would prefer a more tactical approach as opposed to just storming in and killing everyone. And she also wants more followers for Queen Takesis. So has expressed that the more people there are that are alive, the more followers of Takesis there will be.
So the dragons left, and what? We're just left with the leftover people and all the people we killed and stuff. We're just standing there in the battlefield.
Did the dragon leave?
Yes.
Yes, that she flew
Dragon
off.
did it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, she said her little monologue.
And then
The flames died down, as did the smoke, and then she flew towards the city, not in an engaging or scary way, but to make her presence known. So everyone
basically.
and then snuck off.
was that.
She
Yeah,
flew
exactly.
over basically to posture a little bit, make her presence known, and then disappeared.
Our dragons are cunning, but like, does this seem like the type of plan, like long term, and like, do I think that the dragon, like, is it Takesis, or is there someone behind that? Like, does it feel like this dragon is like, I don't know. I don't want to say a pawn, but like, we know that they work for Takesis, but like, do we think that's like the end all be all? Like, are they the final boss, or do we think it goes like beyond that?
Roll insight for me. And you can all roll insight on this as well if you'd like. I think it'd be weird if you wouldn't like to. Yes, maybe you can make that
right.
A little better.
Who can roll it as well?
all of you.
Okay.
I imagine that Ethelfled is probably left with a very terrifying and dark feeling of like, fuck, this is gonna be bad. Like,
It doesn't feel good.
like kind of like hope just died.
So, Ethelfled, you still have the same questions you had a moment ago. Calixto, you know exactly as much as Ethelfled. These questions are not answered. Now, Tarlin, you get the impression that this being is ancient and is an expert at manipulation, and you feel like it's possible, whatever course that you take, whatever actions you take, it could play into the hands of this dragon. So in your mind, you want to tread very carefully and you want to plan so that you might outsmart this dragon. You know that you have to think very, very carefully.
Well, if we don't listen to the dragon, she burns everything down.
These creatures would kill and enslave us. We can't listen to the dragon.
Well, if we don't listen to the dragon, she kills us all. How's that any better? You think we could...
I'd rather die on my feet free than is bound in chains on my knees.
True, but I'd like to do something effective rather than just die in this village.
Ethelfled like squints her eyes.
I'm not suggesting that we die without purpose, but rather that we make the most out of the time that we have. She seems to like this grandstanding and posturing. We may be able to use that to our advantage.
Very astute.
Dragons, in general, are not known for their temerity.
But what can we do against such a beast?
She has a weakness, right?
All things do.
But we don't have much time.
Who are these three over here? Okay, so one is Iron Smile. This is
One's
Declan.
Declan, and
Who's this?
then
dude?
one's a rando.
Random.
Yeah, he's just a random guy
Okay.
that was helping.
How much time did she give us again? Because I don't remember to decide.
Roll
she-
insight.
Gave us a time frame.
Yeah, but
She
like like end of the night, like a week.
gave
Like,
you, she gave you a very specific time frame. But let's roll insight first.
okay.
You're all playing this back in your minds. You're trying to replay it over and over again, trying to find clues, something in the mannerisms that stand out.
Oh.
And yes, and I was about to roll it. Okay. So Tarlin, you're all thinking at the same time. We were told tomorrow we have to make our decision.
Okay.
Tarlin, you don't entirely believe that that's. You're not entirely certain why. You think it might be some level of paranoia, but there's something in you that doesn't fully trust this dragon. You're thinking about how cunning this dragon is, and you think this might be misinformation, but you're not positive.
Aethelfla's like tapping Faraday out of like, you can tell she's doing it unthinkingly, just out of habit, just kind of like when people like tap surfaces or whatever. And she looks over at Tarlin and is like, do you think we should even tell the mayor? Do you think we should tell anyone? Should we just keep this to ourselves? Maybe we can get people
at this point
out?
I think at this point there is little to keep to ourselves, especially after the grand gesture the dragon just made.
Well, everyone might know there's dragons now, but they don't need to know everything that we know, right? Kind of like, again, like, yeah, there's a dragon and this is what's going to happen. It's what expected, but we don't need to tell them, like, about Takesis or, like, our suspicions of, like, maybe what the manipulation is or whatever. Like, just kind of, like, give them the least amount of info possible.
We also don't even know that they have the 200 soldiers. It could be because all of those mercenaries died randomly, and those were all servants of Takesis. So it's kind of like, where would they suddenly pull, all those guys?
If they've been planning this for a while,
I was just thinking
though,
that they would have to be nearby in order to respond tomorrow.
that or they were given months' notice of be here at this time to do this thing, and they could all come from anywhere at their own time.
We should get Declan in on this discussion.
Okay. And we should probably head back to the town, too.
Yeah. We need to, know if Declan has any resources that can be useful to us.
Yeah, because we started our battlements and everything and whatever for the city, like, preparing it, but that was probably under the assumption we had way more time.
Does this headless corpse have anything of interest to us? I can't remember if we searched it last time.
Roll investigation.
Ayo, 19.
19. Okay.
Can I give Faraday a command and he listens to it? I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're definitely contacts, but yeah, totally. I mean,
I think he wants to get back. Huh?
Right.
Sorry.
No, sorry. You're essentially Faraday's parent, so as an obedient child would follow its.
What a good little machine you are. I was gonna, when we get back to town, I'm just gonna have him essentially walk in a big circle for like around the city, in circles and circles, like slowly broadening the circle out until it like kind of encompasses like maybe a few miles radius, while we're like doing all our stuff.
Okay. We can certainly prepare that. So Calixto, what you find is a book. It's not it's in a location where it's easy to find, but that's not why I had you roll investigation. It smells dusty, but also you catch a whiff of smoke. Not the same smoke that you just smelled and kind of thought because there was a air elemental, but there's a fragrance to it that's different than what you had just smelled. The grass smells like something caused by a fire, but of a different nature.
So sort of kneeling over this corpse, I sort of pick up this book, and I guess Tarlin would sort of see me like sniff it a few times, and my eyes would kind of squint, and I'd look at Tarlin, and like hand him the book for him to get a whiff of. This, something unusual about the way this smells.
Let me take a look. Can I use Arcana
You may.
on the book?
You may.
It's magical perfume.
Let's see. That's a 10. Well, I could. I'd have had to. I would have had to have guidance to myself first, but that'll only be up to 14. It's fine.
How exactly are you analyzing this?
Honestly, I would be like kind of feeling out to see if there is some kind of magic scent, like feeling on it, like I feel like like black robes and red robes and white robes, like their magic would kind of feel a little different. So I don't know if I would be able to tell like anything like that, but
are you holding the book?
yes, I would have taken it from. I would have, I gently taken it from Callisto.
You
Like,
feel nothing that would indicate a property of magic.
Okay. Kind of just turn it over. It says it seems an ordinary enough book.
Maybe it's nothing then. Okay.
Oops. Botched my roll.
Yep.
It's
probably nothing.
It does beg the question, does anyone open the book? Anyone read it?
I would probably. I mean, while I'm
Yes.
trying to, yeah, I was gonna say if I'm trying to do Arcana, then I would probably try to open the book to see if there would be
Okay.
spells.
So as you open this book, nothing happens. You are kind of skimming through some of it, and it appears to be a long history of Kryn. It's a lot of kind of like Old Testament sort of stuff, like parables. There are, lists of kings from well before the Cataclysm, names you've never heard before, things that don't stand out. As you're kind of flipping through, is dog-eared. And you see a name. Chemosh. And then it has a picture that's faded. You can't really make it out. But there is a description of this Chemosh. Chemosh is the master of the undead and is representative of fatalism. Chemosh hates life, making it a gift wasted on mortals. And then the rest is, just kind of old stories. Some of which might be parables regarding Chemosh, but those are the most straightforward pieces of information that you've discovered while investigating this book. It is conceivable in your downtime you might be able to read more of it, but at this point, kind of gotten the main piece of information, the most prevalent and the most readily available.
Okay. Makes sense.
That is what you read.
All right. Chemosh. Okay. Yeah, that's not good. That would be something like reading about that god, my face would kind of turn in disgust. Oh no.
It's a name that you've heard thrown around once or twice.
Yeah.
You've heard about some of the old gods, but it's the fact that it specifically references mortals that indicates to you that this could be some sort of godlike entity.
Yeah.
Or at least the author of the book believed them to be so.
Yeah. And I mean, anybody with such a disdain for life and whatnot is just, it kind of bothers Tarlin. It's just, the reason he does what he does is to, soothe the living and comfort people. And so this is, it's just, all that is just pain and loss and misery that this god represents. So it's kind of, or whatever this thing represents, it just disgusts Tarlin.
Yeah, nothing about these guys sounds good. We need to get back to town and figure out what our next step is going to be.
I agree.
These guys are bad news.
Oh, yes.
So, does Declan have any idea of anything in the town that can be of assistance to us in dealing with this problem?
Would you like to ask her?
Wait, let me think. Declan Uthmatar
Really?
is a knight, right? She is not Mayor Raven's who I'm thinking of. Damn it. Yeah, we gotta get back to Mayor Raven.
Declan is
Raven's a smart one.
Yeah.
Becklin's a knight of Solamnia who has entered Phobler mostly because Ispen Greenshield was there, her former compatriot and companion. Guy who kickstarted this whole thing off. And you're certainly welcome to ask her in character.
Yeah, absolutely. So on our way back to town, I'm going to say, Becklin, given everything we've seen, is there anything in the town that you know of that could help us deal with this? Anything that can fight a dragon?
You're not entirely certain she heard you, because as you look upon her face, you can see sheer horror. She's in some level of shock. She is shaking. She's pale. And she's very clammy.
Ooh, does she outrank me?
Yes.
Can I make a persuasion check to, like... what am I trying to do? I'm trying to, like, use my presence to kind of snap her. I'm trying to be an inspiring leader. That's what I would like to do.
What would you like to say?
I'm gonna look at her and I'm going to say, Becklin, I know that what you just saw is a little overwhelming, but you and I are knights of Solamnia, and we have a duty to these people. We can't afford to let ourselves go, because they will have nothing if we do.
Roll persuasion with advantage.
Let's go.
If it helps, I don't mind producing a powder from my satchel and mixing it with a little thing of water to make a little, like, calming potion, if that helps. Like a alcohol. Or if I have ale, I don't know. Do we carry alcohol? Like,
Sure.
Mix up a chilling brew.
yeah, give her because I can just make potions practically, so it's like just something that I'm just gonna make her a fucking ale and just give her a beer. While Calixto is giving his speech.
So, Calixto, you give this inspiring speech, and as you're speaking to her, you can see she kind of snaps back into reality. And the moment she does, Aethelfled, you hand her her drink, and she guzzles it. And Cudgel smiles and says, "That's more like you. Starting to get your color back. We can't be wimps right now. We got to be strong." Becklin nods. Um, yes, sorry, I don't, I don't think I deserve the knighthood anymore. It's been so long since I've been in battle, and now that thing, it's just terrifying. I, I appreciate your words, and you're right. I am a knight, and I better start acting like one. All this talk of plans and the responsibility of trying to come up with answers when there are none. It's weighed on me, and I just kind of snapped. Thank you for jogging me back. I appreciate it. Um, I'll say this. I have been thinking a lot, and there are options that I considered unavailable. But I do think it would be important to consider even the worst of evils. I don't think we could escape the city with that thing flying around in the air. Our ships would be melted. So we need someone. There's. I don't even want to mention his name. There's someone of ill repute, a smuggler, who has a hardy vessel. Perhaps they could help us defend ourselves on the water.
It may be prudent as if we are to, if we do decide that we are abandoning the city, it may be prudent to set the torch to it ourselves and leave our enemies nothing. Take their prize from them, as it were.
I think you might be right. Also, after seeing that thing and the flames it commands, I think it will burn no matter what. So you're right. We should be the ones to do it. And just as we said, Cudgel's men down the river, Ispen. And as she mentions the mercenaries, you can see Cudgel premises. I think we might have to say goodbye to someone else. Someone is Vogler. I think we have to abandon the city. We should burn it to embers. But if we go down that river without something defending us, we will perish. It doesn't matter if we burn the city or not. They'll still have access to a port. And I'm sure the first place they'll head is Calamon.
What if we didn't burn the city? What if we left it as a decoy to cover our escape? We could poison the supplies and leave traps behind to slow the progress of their front line.
But what if we stayed and just went through the whole process of being occupied? Because then that would give us firsthand knowledge of our enemy and how they work and operate. We could always form a resistance.
My concern is that if we stay, we'll become trapped there. Whereas if we can get to Kalamat, then we will have additional resources available. And we still have time to move there as long as it's quiet.
Maybe only some people need to escape.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe we do both, right? Maybe we do get that frontline info. But we need someone who can learn and get out. I look at Iron Smile. Do you know anyone who's up to this task?
Me. But I think first, my services would be better if I went looking for this army. Because it could be 5 people. We burn down this whole city. What the fuck did we do that for? So I think we need to make sure that they do have these numbers, that this dragon, who God knows we can trust. We need to make sure that this is real, that the threat is how we're perceiving it to be.
If there,
Then,
sorry, go on.
oh, good.
I was gonna say, if there weren't 200 soldiers at all, but there were only one dragon, could you defend your people against that? We know for certain there's at least one.
Safety in numbers.
Those little dudes we fought a while back, though, were pretty tough.
Yeah, my concern is the dragon alone could wipe out everybody, right?
Yes.
And I don't know that we necessarily have safety in numbers, because if we're all defenseless, then we all die. You know? I don't know. I'm thinking Kalamat might be the way to go while we have the advantage of time.
Because I'm sure the dragon is like expecting us to want to flee and all that stuff too. It's probably thought of that, but I just feel like if we flee, then it kind of gives our hand away more than if we stay. But it may not be safer, and maybe we will just die. I don't know.
What if we scatter? What if the city flees in different groups, but like the groups travel to Kalamat separately, so that they can't
Like
be
Underground Railroad?
They can't all be found, right? It's like, so we leave the city in like 6 different directions, but we all circle around to Kalamat. Just a thought, and we could still leave like some degree of forces behind, some brave souls who.
Because if everything's burned or empty, like the dragon's going to be immediately at mad or sus, and like they can probably fly faster than we could sail or run. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like if we ran, yeah, we wouldn't get far. Because they can just fly, and then they'll find us, and then we're all dead. But if we pretend like we're going along with them, and they think we're doing what they want to do, like that gives us a chance to like blindside them or lie, or I don't know. Just I think it feels like it gives us more wiggle room. Because I guess we could, yeah, all flee separate directions and stuff, but getting all those people to that city without being noticed would be really hard.
What if there were key individuals?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, you know how rich people always just buy stuff for themselves and leave everyone else? Like, one of those things where only the decision-making important people get to leave. The key, the heart or whatever, the core of the village that could, like, remake it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of hate to be that way, but in a situation like this where only some people might be able to survive, it might be something to consider.
But everyone might survive if we just agree to the dragon.
Is that actually something we're considering?
Oh, I don't know. It's an option, isn't it?
I thought we were gonna like be clapped in chains basically the moment we let them storm in and murder all of us.
Yeah.
I thought they would want the city to function still fairly like normal, just being monitored, because they mentioned the resources. Like, people can't stop working if they want all these things.
Yeah, but that means that means slaves, not workers. That means but it doesn't mean, positive things.
We're gonna unionize.
No, but we're still alive.
If you call that living.
Yeah,
I call it a chance.
That sounds like a grim future. So the only thing is that if everyone digs our heels in, it sort of sets up a situation where we have to defend or we're stuck.
We also could send the women and children away, arm all the men, and and fight.
You say that in character?
Yes.
Cudgel kind of waves a sword at you. Why can't we arm the women too?
We can arm the women we can arm as anyone willing, but we also need someone to watch the children.
Volunteers.
We can't leave a whole village of orphans.
No, but anyone over like 65 or something. one's not capable of fighting. Maybe they could watch the children, and of course, those not
We
prone
don't.
to it.
Sending those that aren't capable of fighting with the children means you send no one that can protect the children.
Right. We do need at
That's
least
why
some
you
capable
send women. That's why you send the women with the children and arm the women so that they can protect their children.
We can just give all the
Because
Anyone
we're
children
that wants to
tough.
stay and fight could stay and fight, but again, we need to protect the youngest, and we need
We could always take a
some.
handful of soldiers to go with them too, or not soldiers, but like 2, 3 men or something armed help. How many men? How many able-bodied men do you have? She says to Declan.
The townsman, he says, I'm not one of them. I look. There are men, there are women that are cowards. I have grown up in the city my whole life. And I want to defend it, but what can we do against that thing? We're not you. And Declan puts a hand on his shoulder.
You're not you, but you have us. Have you not seen what we're capable of? Do you not know that I can make machines? We can fight this thing.
Do you think
Again, you have to have a weakness.
do you think we could maybe modify the fucking gnome slinger into some kind of weapon?
It works. It can launch Faraday. It can launch a missile or something, or like a harpoon, or I don't know, rocks. Whatever we need.
Aethelflaed, it does occur to you that you haven't used this yet, but you understand that you are capable of enlarging yourself. It's not a tremendous amount, but you do think that it would help with repairs and to outfit the gnome slinger a little more.
Oh yeah, I was also thinking I could just grow big and try to grapple the damn dragon, but
Turn it into if we can. It wouldn't be hard to make a ballista bolt.
If everyone helped too, like in the short amount of time, production would go faster.
What would we do if the ballista got destroyed?
Well, we had projects going around the city for protection. If the ballista got destroyed, I would say we need like a pitfall or a trap or something to chain it down.
I feel like we don't even know if there really are any troops at all.
The thing is, the ballista would be specifically for the dragon. That would be the dragon weapon. We don't use it until the dragon decides to join the fray. Before that would be just straight combat. But you save if we hide the slinger with some kind of basically like large arrow, ballista, something like a ballista bolt, something of that nature, and are able to launch that, then if we were able to hide that, then we could use that, spring that as a secret weapon against this dragon.
You think the dragon's already seen it though? Like they've had time, right? To spy that thing.
They've probably seen the launcher, but they don't. I can only imagine that if they would know what it does.
I guess that's true. And it hasn't been functional for however long, so maybe they can just assume it's broken still.
That's very true.
Maybe they will. Who knows? Yeah, I think honestly that launcher is probably the best bet against the dragon. Unless anybody knows of its natural weakness or magic or whatever.
I mean, can I make an Arcana check to see if I have any knowledge on said dragon lore, DM?
Yeah, you try to pluck a memory out of your head. You could do history as well. In fact, all of you can roll history if you would like. Harlan, you could roll Arcana. Unless you have proficiency. Anyone with proficiency in Arcana.
I have proficiency in both, and they're both the same. But I think the magical. I would be looking for like a magical weakness. I think.
I have proficiency in Arcana, but my history's not bad.
That is a dirty 20.
No,
Okay.
it's
Aethelflid. And then Calixto, if you want to history.
History? Okay.
I could do history for sure.
Jesus.
Can't do Arcana.
22 and 24. Jesus.
I know my shit.
Jesus. Both of you are basically just critting. Good lord.
My int is my high.
Everyone
well,
roll. Yeah. Same. Mine's my. It's my highest stat. But
So
yeah,
you all paid attention when you were younglings. I don't know what they're called.
Stop.
Fucking D&D.
Dragon slaying school.
Yeah, when y'all were in
How to train your pet dragon part.
So you do recall that there were wars in the past where dragons and humans fought. You don't know a ton about those, but you do remember that there were weapons specially crafted that helped with taking out dragons. And you know that with enough swords, enough arrows, they can die. They are mortal creatures, so they are capable of dying, and they are certainly prone to death. And they are very deeply powerful, with that having been said. Usually you need tons of magic, an army, or other dragons in order to take one down. Now, Tarlin, you recall...
Isn't railgun? No. I'm sorry, that was stupid.
That's all right. So, you recall the actual weapon that was crafted, and it was called a Dragonlance. You don't know anything about its properties. You don't recall anything beyond that, but you do remember the name Dragonlance. You had thought that it was something of myth, and it may be, but it does. That's the first thing that pops in your head. You're like, man, I wish there was a fucking Dragonlance right now. You know, that kind of thing. But the rest of you are.
The name.
What's that?
You said the name of the series. Ah.
Hey.
We
Dragonlance.
So with my
But yeah, no, I
20,
showed knowledge on the Dragonlance.
with my 20, right? It's taken all three of us to fight like 4 of these things at a time, or like one general, or not even a general, but like one leadership position ranking dragon, right?
Yeah.
Does Calixto realistically believe that we have a shot at a full-grown dragon, and even at least 15 of these things, or 20 of these things?
In Calixto's mind, it seems unlikely, but I think he also believes that there might be a puncher's chance where you hit the right organ, you do the right thing. It's got a beating heart. You stab it in the heart, it will die. But the likelihood of pulling that off seems slim, while possible. It would not be easy.
So, while possible, we are betting a lot of lives, if everyone remains in the city, on our ability to defend it. It sort of seems like the best thing to do is both, where we defend the city, see if we can harm the dragon, and then save whoever we can.
Yeah.
Would those people be able to get aid, and send reinforcements type of thing?
It's
Do we have allies in that
an
town?
option. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's a great question for Becklin. Does Becklin know anyone in Kalamat?
Becklin knows some Knights of Solamnia. She hasn't been in a long time, and so it's possible she has friends that aren't her friends anymore, or have maybe perished. And because things have been relatively peaceful, it's likely that some of her friends on the inside of Calamon would be available.
We need Mayor Raven. That's who we need. Mayor Raven can probably point us towards somebody at Calamon.
Yeah.
I bring up by the way, I tell everybody about what I know about remember about the Dragonlances and about, like I know it's a long shot, but if this is something that can be found in, I doubt it, but if this is something that can be found, we may stand a chance.
So she does also share with you that there's more of a council as opposed to a direct leader. So
Okay.
there are leaders.
Oh,
So certainly some people that she might be able to reach out to,
Okay.
and suggest that Mayor Raven might know some other folks as well. Would you guys like to go back to the city and maybe engage Mayor Raven, or would you like to confer a little bit more?
Let's go back to the city.
Yeah.
Okay. Cudgel and Becklin have expressed interest in diverting, not going to the city with y'all, and instead trying to find this army to see if there are, in fact, 200 soldiers and to kind of measure them. I know the land.
Shout out.
It's not a bad idea. Somebody's gonna have to
Honestly,
do it.
that's a great idea.
Right. It's
That is a
better
great
than
idea.
putting Faraday blindly in a direction, so.
Just spiraling outwards from the city.
Yeah, I was like, it's gonna take forever, but I don't know what else to do. Like,
Okay. And then this townsman is gonna tag along with y'all.
Oh yeah.
Random
Let's get this.
townsperson.
Let's get Rando back to the town.
last one standing, shit. Like,
Okay. So you would like to return to the city, is that correct?
Yes. Let's go back to the city.
All right. It's been a while since I pulled up the map of Vogler. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see.
God, I made some chicken fried rice with jalapeno a little bit ago, and I guess I didn't wash my hands good enough.
oh no.
Yeah, I didn't touch my eyes. Lucky enough, I touched my lips, so it's just a little burny, but it's not too bad.
Done that before.
Oh yeah.
Small degree of pain.
All
I
right.
think Aethelflaed is also gonna kind of subconsciously touch the hammer that dwarf gave her, thinking about use for good, and just kind of like, I think in the back of her mind as they're walking, she's gonna ponder like, could this be helpful? Could this make me a weapon that will slay a dragon? Like,
Weapon to slay a god.
or to build a shield strong enough, I don't know, to protect from fire. But
Oh goodness, yeah. If we can make some kind of siege ammunition or siege weapon in one day, that would be awesome. But I mean, like I said, we've got the launcher, and at least launches gnomes and or Faraday. So I mean, if it can be modified a little bit,
yeah.
hopefully. And I mean, yeah, like I said, it'd be cool to surprise the dragon with a.
Yeah,
I
either
like this.
like a harpoon or like a sticky grenade or something.
Yeah,
It does like
like-
necrotic damage
Bro,
or something.
what the fuck is that? That's what
A
we
harpoon?
need right there.
That little mine right
A
there.
choke point. Yeah.
Yeah.
A choke point that a dragon can't get inside.
Yeah. It's
Well,
close
actually, I
enough
guess a shape-shifting dragon technically could, but
Yeah,
I guess that's a little
it would
different.
probably.
But it would have.
I was about to say, I don't think they get their layer actions if they're in human form.
Yeah,
So
true. Yeah.
Well, who knows if the cave is big enough for them to shapeshift back into a dragon, so they might be stuck in form.
Well, they also don't get layer actions if they're not.
Well, this is a game changer. This is something that we can
I was just being silly,
definitely
Matt.
defend a lot more easily than this like open terrain. We have like no aerial defense in this town right here.
I would like for all of you to roll a D100.
It's literally
Okay.
made of wood. Look at this.
So I'll be up front. I use this on the map, and we're gonna roll a D100 to see how useful this location is. Okay. Okay. So you feel that you could probably, after conferring with the people in the city, I'm sure as you approached, you noticed it, and I'm sure it's come up. It is a small little mine shaft, mostly used to gather stone, the type that have been used to construct Boulder. It's an older structure, so it's not entirely in the safest of conditions. You could perhaps make it safer with some time and some investment. It could comfortably hold perhaps a couple hundred people.
Holy shit.
They would, however, be in a very compromised situation because they would be outside of the city gates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if everything's on fire and destroyed anyways, then...
And if the dragon doesn't know, we don't even necessarily have to flee that far. Just make it to the cave, and then that might throw the dragon for a loop, because it's like, where are these people? They should be running. Where are they? I can't find them, and it'll throw them off.
Could the cave entrance be hidden?
Conceivably.
I mean, we could use magic.
So here's the thing. If we sent people to Kalamat, and... Is it Kalaman or Kalamat? Kalaman. If we send people to Kalaman and they were to bring reinforcements, this area is much more easily defended and could possibly even be hidden. So that, it could be... People could last.
Even just throw, like, a net over it with, like, wildlife and whatever woven in it would look like hanging moss or something, just like a natural camouflage.
Like a ghillie, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best option we have, because if they need to, we can fortify the city and then try and retreat to here, because it's not too far.
You could certainly make something to... Because, I mean, that ledge, overpass, right, or not overpass, but that ledge right there is taller than a building. So it's basically 4 or 5 stories. So you could make something where conceivably it could be scalable. People could enter that area.
We could also
made safer.
Like we can make a rock fall on either side of the gate.
Yeah, that is like by far the best position in the city to defend with.
That gate? Yeah, it's awesome.
That mine shaft.
Oh.
Well, like, the gate, we could, like, certainly start at the gate, but, like, given that the dragon can fly over the gate and basically just start attacking from the center of the city if it wanted to, the openness of the town sort of works against us.
Could also be used to perhaps flank an approaching force. There are a lot of uses that you could make of that little section. A lot of different...
The tower does give height to aim at the dragon and something to hide in as well.
Yeah, this could almost be like a fallback point. And, like, we defend first, like, at the gate, and use the gnome flinger to shoot stuff off.
Is that where...
We could also... Grape shot would be easy, because that's just, like, a bunch of rocks that we throw into the, gnome slinger, and if you aim it up, it's all gravity, and that'll fuck shit up.
Could we poison the dragon? Given that it's so tough, we can't hurt it through conventional means.
Like lace ammo or something?
I wonder if we could bait the dragon with something. Or poison it somehow, trick it.
But then we would, I feel like it'd be easiest to trick it though if we had something it wanted and it would be more willing to like.
Right.
Well, it wants the city and probably the people as slaves.
Yeah, wants the city, we know that, and the resources, the people.
Minister of poison.
I mean, we could poison food and she could eat it if it was like an offering or a tribute or something. But can dragons smell poison? Do they know?
I don't know.
I mean, I know out of character, but not in character.
Yeah, in character, you would not be certain that poison would work, although
Yeah.
it's to reason both ways.
It could work, maybe.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, let's chat up Mayor Raven.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed.
Good to
Yeah,
see
let's
this though. Good to know the layout. I mean, again, we could always try to get the dragon trapped on a piece of land and just like try to blow up the whole mountain side and like avalanche and like capture it or something like. Since there seems to be plateaus and tiers to this. But
Second to set this up real quick. Okay, we're gonna do this here. So we're going to the brass crab. It's a somber mood. When you walk in, and let's just say when you walked in, you asked where Mayor Raven was, unless you guys want to do anything else or RP any of this. Fast travel. At 2.
Yeah.
You guys are good with that. Yeah, you asked around and you found out that Mayor Raven was in the brass crab. There are some patrons. You do see Untamed Siren kind of sitting there doing their thing. You don't see anyone else you recognize except for Mayor Raven, who is kind of in the back.
Guess approach her. You said she's by herself?
She's sitting at a table by herself, having an adult beverage.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee.
Madam. She's trying to get. Ethaflow was trying to get the mayor's attention.
Honestly, I think Tarlin would kind of just walk up. Yeah, we're just doing a little bit of RPing.
Oh.
No, it's just Dragonlance.
Oh.
Yeah, so Mayor Raven is just kind of sitting back there having a drink. And we'll just kind of theater them on. You can tell she's somber. She sees you approach. And she says, "Please tell me that wasn't real." But was that... I don't even want to think about it. It makes me nauseous. That was a dragon. It's a dragon.
So there's some bad news and some bad news. That was a dragon.
She slams her beverage. She kind of snaps at the patron. Gets her attention. Then a barmaid goes and runs off to get another drink. So what's the bad news?
Well, this dragon, Ignia, she kind of wants the city and wants us to submit to her. Also, there's supposedly 200 people ready to pounce if we don't agree, and maybe by the end of the night. And she kind of like raises her shoulders and was like, kind of looking at the guys like, someone step in.
The situation is dire and we need to act quickly. So she's just hanging out in a tavern here?
Yeah.
Are there a lot of people around?
Not very many. Mostly just people who work there, and then Tame Siren, a couple others. Just the word is quickly their lives are falling apart. They know that there is a dragon, and they're all somber, sad.
I'm gonna say.
Oh, good news. We have a plan.
Oh, go
I think
on.
we have to.
Oh no, just the good news is we have a plan.
Oh,
Yes, surrender. It's the only option.
surrender. You would doom the lives of everyone in this town.
May not be a good life right now, but I don't see any other option. You can't stand up to that thing.
No, but you can't just surrender to it either. Both of those two options are bad options. You've
No,
got to.
I can, and I will. They can have the city. I can't ask these people to lay their lives down. I'm in charge of a whole city of people. I'm in charge. And this is the only way.
Yes, but what if we have plans for at least half of them to escape, and maybe a way to fight this flying lizard?
Yeah, how would the city normally defend itself?
Oh yeah, you sound just like Becklin. That's what she says all the time. How will we defend ourselves? We need the gnome flinger. Do you have something that can kill a dragon? I don't. Nobody in this town does. There's nothing we can do.
Can we get a small group to Kalamot to at least forewarn Kalamot of the coming threat?
We can certainly try. I think that would be appropriate. They should know. Maybe we can slow them down. Maybe we can fight them from the inside. Maybe we can take our city back in pieces slowly. Or maybe we can... I don't know. I can send someone ahead. I can ask them to tell Kalamon. Maybe they could send a force. Maybe we're alone.
How many days travel is Kalamon from here?
It's a week.
A week? God damn.
Yeah.
Do messenger ravens or pigeons exist?
Yes. Yeah, they do.
Okay. So, is it feasible to like get a message or communicate with Kalamon?
Yeah, you inquire. Mayor Raven could send some sort of carrier pigeon. It's within the realm of reason.
Okay. So, so Mayor Raven wants to surrender, does not want to put up any resistance whatsoever, but only because she believes it isn't truly possible.
Gotta get her to believe.
Well,
We could lie about the Dragonlance and say we know where it is or how to make it, and we can kill a dragon, even though we can't yet.
You certainly could.
That would at least give her hope to at least try and fight, maybe.
And Tarlin, I'm assuming that you probably shared the story that you know about the Dragonlance. Or...
Yes, of course. Yeah, I would have done that.
Otherwise, yeah, shit.
So you're aware that there is, or there at least was, word of such a thing, but you don't know anything about it, and you could certainly try to pretend you do if you would like.
Ethelflaed's gonna lean into Calixto, kind of like near him, and just kind of whisper and be like, Should we tell her about the lance? Should we maybe lie for the greater good?" And then she's just gonna kind of like ease back a little bit.
well, we've got to try something. We can't possibly just surrender to these people. That's essentially death. You have to understand that. If you pursue that path, you're dooming everyone. This city is with a wall of water to our back. These people are cornered. The only place they could retreat really is forward, up the northern side of the town. And to make matters worse, the whole town is made of wood. So it's only going to take one flyover from this dragon to set the entire town ablaze, and there's not going to be anything to defend against, to defend with, or really to it's the town is indefensible, and surrender is also not an option. However, we do have a weapon in the gnome slinger, and my friend Aethelflid here may be able to weaponize that. Additionally, we've also noticed that there is a small, what appears to be tunnel to the northwest of town. Do you know anything about this?
Oh, yeah, it's a mine. Yeah, I haven't been in there in ages. I don't think it's really been used much in quite some time. We have most of the things we need, and it is kind of an old relic, but it's possible that maybe it stuff some people in there for a time.
If it could be quickly fortified and hidden and stocked with supplies, that is a place that provides a natural choke point where their numbers won't count for anything because they can't get through the entrance, and the dragon won't be able to attack it with flame either. If we can get a message to Kalaman, at least there's a chance of holding out there. But if you let them into the city, everyone will immediately, all threats, anyone who's deemed a threat within the city will immediately be killed on the spot. Anyone capable of potentially defending and providing any ounce of hope will be instantly slain. We can't possibly surrender.
On a side note, when was that cave first, what would you call it? What do you call it when you make a cave? Constructed? When was that cave first constructed? Was it in your lifetime or before?
I've heard conflicting tales, but supposedly before the Cataclysm.
Interesting. Before the Cataclysm, would that be old enough to like, would this potentially be a mine that had something more uncommon than like iron or ore or silver, like maybe a different mineral that could be mined and extracted to, I don't know, with different properties we could fuck around with? I could fuck around with?
Is there anything useful in there?
Yeah.
She's unaware if there is. So to kind of answer the timeline and item a little bit more, the Cataclysm was 300 years ago. So it would be
old world.
And like she said, it hasn't really been of any real use in quite some time. So it'd need to be thoroughly inspected. And so that's certainly doable as well.
Huh. Okay. I thought it's gonna turn to Faraday and be like, Faraday, you remember where that cave is back in the northeastern quadrant of the whatever. She's just gonna tell him where it is. Can I have him investigate it? Just like go walk around and look for minerals?
Yeah,
or whatever?
Yeah. Well, we can even retcon it if you'd like and say that you had Faraday go inspect it when you first arrived. If you would like, you don't have to.
Like sent him in the cave as we continued into the city?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool. I was curious about it anyway, and if we were gonna fix it up, we should know. And he won't get killed, so I feel like it's the safest option, so.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Well then, yes. If he could have done that, that would be great. Because, I mean, like, there might be, like, some weird dwarven ore in there that's, like, harder than steel that we might be able to turn into arrowheads to, like, help us pierce this dragon or something, like...
I mean, yeah, mithril would be great if we can
Not
If we
saying
can-
it's down there, but it's not. I feel like it's worth a shot looking. Especially
I
if we
mean,
can use it.
you know,
What if there were poisonous fumes in the tunnels that we could weaponize against the dragon? Like naturally occurring gases. I don't know. Might be worth looking. But either way, we have to figure out what to do with the populace.
Can we see like the town map or the world map again? Is that okay?
Which one?
Whatever. I guess like the town map or like the city map.
Yeah, we could do that.
I just want to see what's around us again in me. Because I feel like all the cities will be a little too far off, but...
This is flour.
Dude,
Did somebody drop that?
wasn't me.
We're surrounded by water.
Dude, yeah, that's the problem. Dude, this city is
We can't run anywhere.
fucked. Look, there's the dragon right there. That's how big it is in relation to everything else.
Probably.
No, so...
And that scene we saw earlier was up here, right?
yeah, that's when we came into town.
Dude, look, there's even a fucking wall, so like no one can flee. Everyone, because we're on a peninsula, they're basically all trapped.
There's also, it looks like there's this fortress at the top, right here. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Thornwall Keep. That's where the gnome slinger is, and that's where you first encountered the gnome slinger and the gnome.
Okay.
I guess it's a little bit aerial.
It seems like the keep would be the best place to be at. It's a stone structure, so not flammable. If we can defend, and yeah, that the keep also makes it so that we can attack the entrance and defend the gate,
Mm-hmm.
while from the safety of the keep.
I
Yeah,
agree.
because if we fly on boats, we're just sitting ducks.
We can.
I mean,
I
We should also do
might-
something about this entire path.
I mean, yeah, we can set up rock falls all along. Well, since there's no access to really this area up here, we can set up rock falls along the top of that one area, and just which is just a bunch of rocks and stuff that are set up on the ledge to be pushed over. That would only take a couple men each.
Bits of
This-
metal and scraps and like coals and shit and whatever.
This doesn't look great. But, this is what it looks like inside of Thornwall Keep. It's quite decrepit, quite disheveled, but it is something that you can maybe use as a choke point, conceivably.
This place is ready to collapse.
We could do shoddy repairs, but to reinforce it. But
The thing, yeah, I think this is a great defense position. I don't know if this is like a long term. We want to
Stay
we want
there.
to fall back to this point, right? We want to be able to defend this and then fall back out of this.
I think what it may be prudent to do is send people out on ships while a force defends the keep and the gates for as long as possible to effect an evacuation, basically.
we could always also send out decoy ships with nobody on them just to draw the attention away.
Yeah. Well, we would have the thing about the decoy ships is there would have to be a crew because it was easy to see uncrewed. It would be fairly easy to tell an uncrewed ship from a crewed ship. Just
To a dragon from the sky? Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So what if the army came right here and stopped, and they didn't move any further? They just didn't let anyone beyond this point, and then they attacked us from this side. What would we do about that?
Well, I can't
They would
remember
be
what I was
splitting
doing.
their forces that way, and that would be splitting their forces in that manner would be more beneficial to us because even if they do try and pincer, we could then basically that. If the thing is, they would be coming in through the road. We already have high ground on that.
No,
from
I'm
where
saying
from our
they control this, so they don't approach us here. They get here. And
yeah,
get
but
stuff.
we also have a 5-story cliff face above them that we could travel along past them. If they're going to do that, we have a cliff face we can travel along.
But if the 200 people enter from the sea and attack the city from the sea,
That's
instead
even
of
easier to defend then, because attacking from the sea is even easier to defend than attacking from this ground position. Because if they're attacking from the sea, yes, they may have cannons, but they don't have all of their ground forces.
Yeah, but they do have a dragon, right? So what
I
if
know
the
they yes.
dragon? Basically, what if the dragon goes
The whole
around?
thing is
Right.
the whole thing is the point. The dragon doesn't want to destroy the town. It's going to try and avoid doing all of that collateral damage to everything. They've already stated that's a goal that they have is to not do collateral damage to the town. So why would they just indiscriminately burn everything when they want the things in the town?
So let's say this then. The thing is, this is the best defense point, but it's also the worst way for everyone else in the town to flee.
we're under a siege, essentially.
That's why are we? Well, we don't want. We're not. We'll be unable to be used to flee. That's the thing.
If we are attacked from the south, the whole town is basically cut off, right? There's basically no way to defend ourselves along here.
There is. That would be a lot easier to defend because a small force can stop them from landing. And
Also,
because each ship would only be able to hold a certain amount of people. A ship can't hold 200 people unless it's massive. And in that case, they're still only entering from one point.
Yeah, and I thought I was setting up traps or something at
I don't know
the
about
port.
that. I think this is a terrible idea. This town is a hard spot to defend. But I'm willing to kind of roll with what y'all want to do. I think the best move is columning and getting out of here.
I mean, that like I said, we can try that, but we have less than 24 hours to evacuate a whole town.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
this
the
town
thing.
is fucked. Oh man.
Yeah, they would have to leave.
I was about to say I'm pretty sure it's against your knightly code to ditch all these folks, bro.
Well, I'm not suggesting we ditch everyone, but we need to save who we can, right? So Callisto's perspective isn't like, fuck them, I'm out. It's if there's people we can save, we should save them. But if we can't save everybody, then so be it.
That's been my whole plan. I've been offering that as a plan, but I don't know. It seems like people don't like that.
I'm not saying I don't like your plan. I'm just wondering what the best way for us to defend against these different types of attacks would be. Yeah. So if you're saying a southern attack would be the way to go because we'd only need a small group.
Well, we have no idea where they're coming from, so we can't predict that. Basically,
correct. That's kind of what I'm saying.
At this point, planning for a southern defense is pointless. So we might as well plan for a defense for the northern part of the town where they're most likely to come from, an overland army, rather than a bunch of people coming in on a boat.
They probably are hiding up in these woods somewhere close, if they are there at all.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We should only plan for a northern attack.
I don't think planning for a attack from the port would be.
I think that would happen at night if it did.
We would have to spread our forces way too thin, and to plan for every eventuality. That's why it's like if you force. That's why if you have your force in the keep and you send people out on the boats away, then they still, even if they land there, they still have to come up to the keep.
So
let
me make sure I'm understanding this. So you're saying we put our defenses up here in the keep,
no matter what, yes,
and then people escape on boats this way.
Yeah, basically, yeah. If we start organizing, basically we know who's staying behind to fight. We have to basically get the people who are staying to fight, and we have to get the people who are leaving. We have to get the people who are leaving out now, and then we have to set the defenses up while basically over the rest of the day.
I see. And if I'm understanding correctly, you were also saying the problem with trying to defend against all this is that it would be way too difficult to do so, right?
Defending against anything on the south, yes, it would be way too difficult to do so. We would have to have a much larger force than we actually are able to have.
We're just,
So
again,
that's why
I fully agree. That's actually the point that I was making.
That's why if we all basically if they're coming by sea, it's whatever, that's fine. If we've abandoned the town, it doesn't matter. We have our force in the keep, and we basically defend the keep. We move as much supplies into the keep as we can and defend the keep for as long as we can.
Okay. So you're saying we bring the people up here too?
No, I'm saying we get the people out.
Get the people
we
out.
have some people that fight. We have some people fight. We have get the rest out. And
also,
basically,
if we were worried about the sea, we could just, again, strategically put 1 or 2 people at certain points with the cannons with like the most range and hope that it's enough to sink a ship or something if it does come that direction.
if we're worried about the sea, you just you send off our ships and burn the docks. Which yes, that basically you make use of them and then destroy them so that they can't be used against us.
It also burn the whole
What do you
city
think,
to the
Tosh?
ground.
What do you think is the best plan?
Well, I do agree with Eddie that I think they're most likely going to come from up here.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with you also that I think the city's pretty fucked if it was a land or an invasion from the sea, because it is open and we would just... This would be the last and only place that's defensible.
Yeah.
If it's an invasion from the sea, it would be easier for us to get out because they would have to split their forces to try and keep us in while forces from the sea pressed out. So we would just have to mount all of our forces into a large assault from the gate and just leave that way.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there is. I mean, yes.
Again? You're saying
if they are doing what you say, and there's like a force up here blocking the road and a force down here attacking from the sea, that means their 200 are split in some way, shape, or form. Most likely, since this is such a small area where they're at up here, it would be a smaller force here and a larger force out on the ocean because there's more area to canvas to push in, and that would just make escape via the road and or the cliff face that we would be on in the keep easier, because we could either go over them and avoid them or push through on the road and just break through that.
It is a bad chokehold for them to be in.
They wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't be able to set up enough effectively without us knowing.
I also think that what's her face said army and not navy. So if we're being picky with words, that's an indication that it's going to come from the land most likely versus the sea. But that may not be it at all.
So here's what I think. I think we can control what's in this bubble the most easily, and then all of this down here is extremely hard to defend and would probably just be fucked. The problem is longevity and what we're gonna do. So
my issue is just the ships getting sunk by the dragon once they're on the water.
Yeah. These people out here, if we've got our defenses up here, these people out here are basically sitting ducks, right?
If they can get away fast enough, but if it's a day, I still feel like it's enough range for the dragon to find them and just burn everyone down. And
I don't know if
a day's
viable.
That's the fastest method. There's no way to escape over land at this point.
Well, I mean, if they escape, they would have to do it like right now, right? Because once the battle starts, they're fucked if they're still.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, well, that's why we would have to do that. Yeah, that's why we need to do this all like now. Like we would need to. It's basically if we're going to defend, we need to send the non-combatants away on ships now. If that's what we're going to do, then that's what we need to do: is send the non-combatants away from the town. Period.
But here's
Because
the thing,
they'll
too.
just die otherwise.
But we have to
Well, sure,
send
but-
some defenders with them. Otherwise, they're
I
also
mean,
sitting ducks.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Well, that's kind of where I'm getting what I was getting at before is that we send if the whole town, if a bunch of people are staying here and the whole town is leaving, you have some people that are leaving that can still fight. Not everybody is going to be, fighting, but
See, and I feel like if the
Even
dragon gets
as we-
wind of what we're doing, she knows automatically now that we plan to not agree with her and we're going against her. And who's to say they don't have a second army or something else ready for retaliation, or like, because this exposes our hand immediately, because it lets her know immediately, like, even if she lets them flee, she knows where we're at and what we're gonna do. So it's like, I still feel that if
know what
we,
we're going to do. Why do you feel that she knows what we're going to do?
Sorry, quick timeout. I have to call my aunt real quick, and you guys have a lot to think over. If you have any questions, like, I'll still be here, but if you have any questions, just put them in chat. I'll answer them.
Yeah.
But just give me like 10 minutes, and I'll be back.
Okay.
the way
Sorry.
that I'm, yeah, no worries. The way that I'm thinking of it is like, like if you have this city and you have this inside knowledge that the enemy's going to come attack it, it's like, yeah, what do you do with that knowledge? Because it's like, I feel like if we have everyone flee, it alerts the enemies that, I mean, like, we know that she's coming because she said she was, but it's like, I feel that if we flee, it signals to her that, yes, we intend on fighting her, we intend on resisting, and we're not going to do what she asks.
If
But,
we
like,
if we flee, then it looks like we're just running. It doesn't look like we're fighting anything. It just looks like we're running. If we send a bunch
but
of
she wants people
run.
also still there because they're also part of the resources. And I feel like if we stayed
Yeah.
and accepted her, then she would be none the wiser. And that's still a normal response, fleeing as well. But
I'm-
like
I just
staying
don't
there.
I'm not going to do that. I'm just
No.
saying my character would not do that. So that's not going to be an option for Tarlin. Is any kind of acquiescing to the dragon is not going to happen.
Yeah.
The other
So
thing
that's
is I strongly suspect, I don't know a lot about this setting, but based on what I
Yeah.
do know, I kind of expect like the orcs are enslaving the hobbits is basically what's going to happen to all of us if we are like, yeah, come on in here. But I also see what Tasha's saying, where she's like, yeah, if she tells us to go warn the city, and then all of a sudden, you can clearly see from miles away that all these boats are like evacuating, right? Then that does kind of also show our hand. So,
I mean that.
maybe
Okay.
How I won't do it.
Who? Okay. I want you guys to think about this. Who wouldn't run away from something like that? Who in there? Who would not? But like, who in there?
Slow down, Eddie. I'm not saying like
Yeah,
this
like, that's why I'm
necessarily
like-
means they can't flee. I'm just saying maybe we could
That doesn't-
like, move them to a safer point, like subtly, and then they take boats and they flee elsewhere. So that way there's
Like
not like
group
a big
idea or
like exodus from the city, right? Which would be really obvious to anyone who's watching the city. And like they clearly have access to like woods right here, so maybe we just smuggle them up here and then they escape somewhere up the coast.
What if that's
We
where the
can-
troops are? We just take all the people right into their hands, and there they
Yeah,
are.
We need scouts, right? So we shouldn't do anything blindly. We should
So-
be
Right
careful.
now. Because we could always, again, pretend to invite her in and then draw them in up north where we can defend and just ambush them. And then hopefully that buys us
But-
also time or something.
Tarlin wouldn't do that. Wouldn't agree to that.
He wouldn't pretend,
No.
huh? Wow.
Okay. Well, I mean,
That's not in his nature. I also am not like that. Yeah, that's not in his nature. It's not something he would do. He wouldn't do that at all.
okay.
The difficulties of playing with morally good characters.
Yeah, maybe we can find some sort of compromise, right? Because
I don't think Harlan is the type of character to compromise, sounds like.
well, I do think we're all in agreement that water's definitely the fastest way to travel.
Mhm.
But we should probably be careful about how we do it. I actually do agree with Tosh that I think an exodus would show our hand. but that doesn't mean we can't do an exodus. We just have to be careful about it.
Yeah, I think we need to be more sneaky.
And at the same time, I also agree with Eddie.
We do need to do it
that
now.
This is probably the most defensible position. However, we don't necessarily know that the enemy is going to be pushing from this direction, which is really kind of the best case for us, but also the worst case for them. So, like, why would they do that? Really, the best case for them would be to put a small unit here so that no one can retreat this way, because even though this is our best control, it's our worst position to try and flee through, right? So everyone's actually cut off going this way, even though this is our strongest point here.
But the thing about that is that we have height advantage on that. So
Yes,
that
but-
basically even having that height advantage negates the whole cutoff point aspect because
you're not listening. So look, what I'm saying is, yes, we have a height advantage here, right?
over that whole road,
But we cannot extend beyond this, right? This is where we
Sure
have
we
the
can.
advantage.
because we have that height advantage. They cannot hold that as a choke point
But it
because
was only within so many feet. If they're
Because
2
they're
miles down the
basically-
road, they can blockade us and stop
Yeah,
us.
they can just come up from these directions, right? I'm thinking they fully have the ability to meet us here and meet us here. And this tower, yes, has a height advantage, but we cannot... The whole point of all this really is just to say we can't flee this way, and it's unlikely that they attack us from here because that's the best case for us and the worst case for them. The most likely situation is for them to attack from this way because it's harder for us to defend against, right?
Yeah, and
like,
what if they did it at
Okay,
night when
I'm
everyone's
going
sleeping
off-
type of thing?
I'm going off of what we were told. This dragon wants to march troops into the town. They want us to surrender. They're going to bring stuff. They're not coming from the south, period. They're going to come up from the road. End of story. Like, that's all they're going to...
That's not end of story at all. That doesn't mean... We've already been attacked once from the south on the docks. Oh, they're just going to forget about that, so we're never going to do that again?
Someone did an attack from the water. Someone snuck into town and transformed in town and then attacked.
I think
That wasn't from...
I don't think we should rule out the possibility, though. Thinking that something is impossible or won't
wouldn't
happen
make
is...
sense for them to attack us from our strongest point. They are absolutely going to attack us from our weakest,
Yes,
hardest
because-
points.
Because all right, so you have to think about Takesis as a god, as a goddess rather, very proud and all that. The whole frontal assault thing is definitely in it. Like that's like her strat. The dragon would definitely like go and attack anything leaving at the time of the battle.
So is this
But,
something like
like,
our
Dragon's the one we're
are you
dealing with.
like sure about this? Is this something our characters would be like, oh, this is 1,000% Takesis will only attack us from the front because that's what she does? And
Basically,
we would bet, like, a whole town's worth of lives on that. Because if that's something that like we know, then like sure I can roll with that. But if it's an uncertainty, then it feels scary to do so.
I mean, well, here's the thing: is we don't even have our scouts letting us know anything yet. So we're basically trying to come up with plans with zero information right now, which we shouldn't be trying to. I guess at this point we shouldn't be trying to nail down a plan and things to do without the information from Becklin and Cudgel, because at this point, like. We're sitting here speculating, going round and around about which way is the best way to defend, when we can't do all of them,
I mean,
and
I'm enjoying
we can't.
myself. This is
And we can't like. Oh, we have to. Oh, I'm more like it seems like we're spinning our wheels, and we need to come up with like something to do.
no nonsense.
Like we need to actually come up with a plan.
We're exploring like what we think is the best idea. I think you've had some good ideas. I think Tosh has also had some great ideas. My idea is I agree with Eddie that I think this is the most defensible point up here, but I also think we need to secure passage to the other side, which actually means setting up over here so that we can retreat to the
Looking
mines.
at that map, there is no easy way up that cliff face from the town or anywhere else nearby.
No,
ladder.
yeah, we have like a day
There's-
to set up soldiers here. Like we can get people
Well-
up here. It's not an impossibility.
But getting them up there also because of how hard it is to get up there, it means they're also cut off from resupply and or support because
I
of
agree. I
So
agree.
that's why I don't think that cliff face, anything basically up here is kind of a null
That
point because
that part.
we can't reach it. There's nowhere around. Like all of this is cliff
Totally
face.
So
Cliffscape.
that I disagree with.
All
I
of
do
this-
agree. Hang on. I do agree that these people up here on this quarter will be more isolated, right? So it'll be harder for them to like fall back south like you can at the watchtower because there's like obviously a fucking cliff there.
would have to go
However, the reason that I feel we need to control this area is because not only does it allow us to control what's happening here in addition to what's happening here, it also allows us to control passage to our escape point, which is safe from both numbers of like an army and a dragon.
The point you're making there's no easy way to get up there. There's no easy way to get up to scale that cliff face. We would have to
I'm not saying
basically.
they scale the
We
cliff.
can
They
make
just leave
cool-
town, fucking walk around and go up here.
Or I'm sure I can make it
Like,
cool.
we-
Are we
literally
sure
just
that's a
walked in.
thing as well?
Yes,
Or
like
we walked through this valley.
Let's
We
just-
didn't walk through that north part.
Look,
That whole cliff face.
Let's not make this adversarial. Let's just see what happens when Matt comes back. We'll say like, "Hey, bro, how viable is this?" If he's like, "There's no way you can get up there within one day," then like, so be it, right?
Well, I mean,
All I'm saying
that's the thing. Is,
I think this is valuable because it allows us to control.
okay,
It's even more of a pincer move too, with the height advantage that we're talking about.
I'm saying I disagree because there's no easy access to get up there. Basically, people that get up there are stuck and trapped. They can't retreat,
We can make ways
and they
down,
probably
ladders,
can't leave.
ropes, parachutes.
Yeah, they don't have an easy way out, but what that does offer us is control of an exceedingly valuable position and control of a place that is the only defensible place on this entire
That's not even
map.
necessarily true. That's not even necessarily true because what you're saying is if they leave town and go up this way, then the Takesis soldiers can do exactly the same thing and just go up there and kill them all. So that just negates our advantage. It doesn't do anything.
Bro, honestly,
If
in
they're there.
general,
We don't know where they
I
are.
think the cave is by far better than like anything else that we have
It's-
here. It's
I
numbers
feel
proof and
It's the
dragon
worst
proof.
option. It's the worst option because if the entrance is collapsed, we're all dead.
So if they collapse the cave
You
on
can
us,
get out of it.
that's
Which is
true,
easy
but
to
then they
do
lose
with
all
the
their
dragon.
resources.
It's easy to do with the dragon. No, they have all of their resources because they have the rest of the town.
Well, we
I
can
say
They
we
kill
burn
all of us.
down.
They
Let's
kill
just
all
burn
of
it
us
all.
and take all the goods in the town.
Let's take away what the dragon
it's a
wants.
ready-made
and get rid of
town with
everything.
no basically easy cleanup because all of the messy bits, the people that live there are already stuck in a
Put
little
everyone
hole.
on boats, send them out, burn the city. Won't have anything.
I
And then we don't have to
actually, on that idea, Tosh, I do kind of think that if we were to like set up provisions right in a defensible position, because like let's say we only defended the tower, right? Let's think this scenario through. What are we going to do against overwhelming numbers? And what happens when we run out of ammo for the gnome slinger? What do we
I do think that pathway is a good chokehold for the numbers because they'll be forced to in an enclosed spot, so it'll push them tighter together, easier to hit.
Mm-hmm.
The ammo, though, yeah, this will be a little
I
harder.
think this
have
is
to
a
look at my-
good spot initially, but only initially, and that we need a way to fall back, and that nothing in the town is defensible. But like Tosh's idea, I think we may be able to set up traps, poison, food stashes, set aside provisions in the cave, maybe get out who we can, and then the others defend the town.
Because I think a few sessions back, I also was starting on projects to like, kind of like the Game of Thrones shit with the Greek fire on the ships. Like I thought I was making like traps and stuff in the water. So I feel like on that front we should be at least semi-okay.
So how about this? Sort of shifting gears from how best to defend the town. What do you guys think we should do with the people who like are non-combative? So like
And
And what about the
women,
people that don't want to
kids.
leave?
Get them out. I mean, if they don't want to leave, that's up to them. But anyone that we should try and send as many people as we can away.
I kind of agree. I think they're
We're gonna
kind
have
of
to tell them
fucked.
something though. We'll have to tell them a story, or tell them again. There's a safe house or a safe place, or they'll be taken care of by somebody in wherever that catharsis, the other city, or
Well, if we send the message ahead, if we send a bird message ahead to Kalamont to basically tell them that we're sending people there because of this army attacking, then that gives them time to prepare because it's a week journey. If they leave today, that gives our people a day's head start on any kind of following.
Yeah.
And
does the rest of the world know about the dragons? Like, is this a new started invasion, or has this been ongoing for a while?
It was new to them when we first
It's like, will
showed
the
up.
city believe that there's dragons if we tell them, or are they gonna laugh at us and
You
be
know what? I
like,
do
"They're
still have an insignia. I don't know how helpful that'll be. But,
Yeah.
But I do agree that we need to get the non-combative people out of here because we can't defend them. And they will have a day's head start at the very least, unless they get jumped. So like it wouldn't be a bad idea to send some scouts ahead.
Right, because even if it's to like the closest port city, like even if it's not to the end destination, just right. I'm about to start like googling like what do people do with refugees? Like I should pay more attention to Gaza. Like shit.
So yeah, I feel like the best thing to do is to smuggle the people out, but to do so without showing our hand. Nothing that's obviously observable from miles away, at the very least.
With our scouts too, we could always try to send a decoy to lure some of the troops out down that path, and maybe either try to accompany a small group out or just have it again like a party in disguise that's actually like warriors, just so they don't die. Hopefully, to scout that ways too, like the main path. See if there's any signs of 200 people being there.
Yeah. It's like, how do you smuggle hundreds of people?
Because Ethelflaed's time would be best used, yes, either making weapons and ammo or making sure parts of the tower are reconstructed or like fortifying the fence or like anything like that. So while she would love to help people escape, I think she would be like staying to help repair things essentially, because that's her whole class is fixing things and making things.
The thing about the mines is that although the mines aren't where we should initially defend from, I do think it's feasible that a small group can hold out for like, a week while reinforcements arrive or something like that. Because at least there they can choke point off the army coming through the entrance of the cave.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
attacked
ideal.
from above.
Yeah.
Also, do explosives exist? Is that in this
I'm sure
setting
they can.
at this time period?
China had gunpowder way back when. I don't know though.
This is like
I don't know
kind
what
of a
time it is.
general Dragonlance question because I don't really know either.
I mean, if we have guns and muskets, then I would say yes. But I don't know if I've seen any of those. I mean, we have cannons, right? So surely.
Do we have cannons?
I don't know.
I mean, I think so. I think cannons exist.
So then it would be safe to assume that there is gunpowder then. If we have cannons, but...
That seems
Although
like a safe assumption.
Do we have clay, right? Shit. How do you make an Irish car bomb? Like, fuck. There's like no magical people in this town except us.
Oh, cool. Fun fact: gnomes make steam cannons. But
Don't we have
I
a
don't.
gnome Isn't that crazy person a gnome with the goblin,
Yeah.
or is it the goblin?
I think he's a gnome.
So
With the because it's gnome flinger.
I kind of figure we're in like the age of sail prior to the gunpowder age, where we're all using swords and hammers and bows, harpoons, yeah, harpoon guns. We should have a harpoon gun. That would be hilarious.
I mean, we essentially can make one.
Dwarves do have cannons too, so actual just regular cannon.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So here's kind of what we all agree on. We should get more information from the other people. We should get the non-combative people out of here. And we all pretty much agree that this is the strongest control point that we have.
It's the only strong point, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just don't know what even can be done about these refugees, honestly. Because
how many boats do you have?
I don't know how many people are actually gonna like get out, you know.
Well, how many people can be fed on a boat? Yeah, how many boats do we have even? Like,
that's true, yeah.
Realistically, if we did move everybody by boats, like, could we? Because there looks to be a lot of people in this city, and I don't see a Titanic, so. Yeah. Should we just take a break real quick while Matt's doing his call?
Yeah, we can take a quick break. I'll pause it.
Sure, we can do that.
Okay, so just to recap, you know that the north is not readily traversable. It's just kind of not a great option, especially for an army, and to evacuate the city, it's not going to be a great idea either. There is the cliff to the left of the gate. That one, it is conceivable an army could approach from there. You would certainly think that that's possible, although less likely. However, as you're considering perhaps booby trapping that little channel right there, you would think that a tactical mind might also think about that as well.
Yeah, so again, it kind of sounds like to me, because anyone looking at the terrain could easily assess that this is our strongest position, I feel like it's kind of unlikely that they approach from their greatest combative disadvantage.
All possible. It's all on the table. Now, I will say, so are you making these plans in character at the Brass Crab in front of Mayor Raven, or to the side, or is this kind of character?
I would say we were doing this in character. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
That tracks. Okay. And probably a little bit away from Mayor Raven, or are you doing this right in front of Mayor Raven?
No, like at the table with Mayor Raven, because we need her
authority. But she knows the city the most, so she's gonna know like all the little ins and outs and what's happened in the past and all that stuff. She has a wealth of knowledge in our layout.
So as you're making these plans, did you want a little more time to kind of plan this out, or you feel comfortable with where we're at?
We really made a whole lot of plans, other than that we should definitely fortify
this. Speculated a lot of.
That's a good
plan. It might be better to move ahead, though. I think it'll come to shape.
Yeah, I think that's.
We know we want to get the non-essentials out, and we know where and how we want to defend. But I think it just it'll go out the window if something different happens, and we should just.
Yeah.
And that's when the door opens to the Brass Crab, and you see a guard who appears to be a little flustered. He approaches Mayor Raven, cups his hand, and whispers in her ear. I would like everyone to roll insight or
perception. Okay.
Ooh, okay, perception then. Not that it was better. Jesus Christ.
I have a button for perception, so.
22.
That's a good one. If there's a button, that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay. Aethelflit, you see a guard approach. He's a little flustered. He cups his hand. Calicsto, you can see the corner in Mayor Raven's, like the corner of her lips. So you can see it kind of, it's almost like a wince. It's like a jolt.
Oh god.
And then Tarlin.
Yeah.
You can kind of make out not the actual words of the whispers. You can hear an incredible sense of urgency and fear.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mayor Raven cups her hand, whispers in the guard's ear. And then the guard very hastily begins to leave the table and makes an effort to leave the brass crab.
What was that?
So,
Yeah, something you want to share with us, Mayor Raven? We're all here planning a way to keep your city alive.
All information is valuable.
I'm out of ideas. I'm so sorry. I'm here as a resource, but please carry on. I appreciate
What was that just now?
It's the town drunk, and he is up to no good again. And it's the last thing.
Insight.
Yeah,
No
bullshit.
way. You're gonna wince at that, bro.
Not that I would know,
I don't
but
even need an insight roll to not believe that. I don't believe that.
I don't believe it either.
I want to know what the fuck is going on there.
right?
Perfect. Okay. Harlan and Calixto, maybe you both eyeball each other, I don't know, but you're certainly not buying it. Aethelflid, it occurs to you that there's very little reason for her to lie. And it seems odd that while you've been discussing all of these plans, she made an effort to keep her words carefully hidden from all three of you. It just seems a little odd.
It's totally sus. Totally sus.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the wrong time
I'll
to
be
be
watching
keeping
her now.
secrets, Mayor Raven.
Yeah.
I don't believe that was about the town drunk whatsoever, and I don't appreciate that you lied to all of us just now.
Lie.
Well, it seems that you don't want our help. Perhaps we ought to just go to perhaps we ought to go to the next town and simply prepare them for the coming assault and leave you to fend for yourselves.
You're welcome to do so.
We can't abandon these people.
Well, she already wants to give in, yeah. Like,
You're
We can't
more than
abandon
welcome.
these people, and we can't allow you to doom them either.
I appreciate your efforts. I have no doubt that your intentions are golden.
how about this? If you don't tell us why you lied, or if you won't tell us what you lied about, can you tell us why you lied? What reason
is
do you have
about-
to lie to us?
What is about to happen is for the greater good of this city. Because what I cannot allow is for Vogler, which has stood for hundreds of years, to be filled with blood and fire. And that is what is about to happen. So I will respectfully ask you to leave this city. And if you do not, you'll be escorted from this city.
Who's in this building with us?
The music
Untamed-
people?
Who's in this room
Couple-
with us right now?
Untamed Siren is here. There are a couple of people who work at the bar, maybe one or two randos, and then Mayor Raven.
Yeah, Calixto
nobody-
glances around the room.
I shout really I shout really loudly. You would sell all of your people to a dragon.
If
I shout that as loud as I can.
Please keep voice down and just
No, you will you will be held to account for what your actions. You plan to sell these people to a dragon.
If we allow you to make this decision, you'll kill all of us.
Everybody here, at least, all of your people.
you hear the door to the brass crab slam open.
Mhm.
Do not see anyone walk through yet. The currency that I will receive for selling, as you have implied, all of my citizens is their life in return. How dare you barge into my city and decide how I should protect these lives?
Insight.
I am under the impression.
Insight.
Uh,
So she's saying that the price is that they will survive. I want to know, does she really believe that they're going to survive?
Okay.
Fortunately, it's just a flat D20 roll.
Not that I'm against this, but
14.
your people would be enslaved or used as livestock or something. You think they just?
Because she's
You're
seen
really
evidence. She knows about these dragons. She knows they're real.
You know what happens when they take over?
Yeah, look at what happened at the docks. There's bodies all over the docks.
You do get the impression that she feels like this is the best course of action to save the city. Save is subjective, but she does think that she's making the right decision. You also get the impression that that's probably why she's sitting in a bar by herself getting drunk. And while this doesn't appear to be a good option, it appears to be a better option than war. She doesn't.
Have you told your people? Do they know?
She told the guard to say yes to the dragon. I think that's what she did.
Can we time out real quick? As a player, I am very tempted to kill Mayor Raven and then use the confusion to direct the town in a way that will best preserve everybody.
I mean, you could bestow the mayorhood on the Lady Knight, I feel like.
My concern is that if we allow her to use her authority to submit to Takesis, everyone is certain to be fucked. And that everyone will also kind of follow. Or I'm afraid she has the authority to actually carry that out, right? And so we kind of can't let her do that.
Well, as a player, I don't necessarily disagree with her, so I'm kind of curious to see how it will turn out.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Because I don't think she's wrong either. I mean, it's realistically, no one dies that way, at least immediately, and there is no war, so it's the lowest casualties. It might actually do her city better. It might actually bring profit in and bring trade, and all these good things might actually happen. So we don't know what the future would really be like.
But Tarlin also knows, right? Tarlin read about shit that happened.
Mm-hmm. So everyone, all of this is
for the Empire.
Out of character. No, all of this is writing on the words of a chaotic evil creature. So
Fair.
Everyone is like, man, let's believe what this chaotic evil thing is saying. And I'm just like, all right, sure, do your thing, man.
I will say, up to this point, the mantra was, if there's a button, that's the one I'm rolling. Now, I trust a chaotic evil creature. All valid points. These are all valid points. So, as a player, or however your characters are feeling, whichever way they're thinking is probably very realistic in their mind.
So
the character Ethelfled is scared and she lived in a city that got essentially invaded and destroyed, and everyone had to leave. So I feel like this is probably a very familiar feeling to her, but also scary and sad because it's oh no, not again.
Calixto is on the verge of killing Mayor Raven to protect the city from her decisions. But I'm kind of holding off to see what you guys want to do.
I'm
definitely looking at Tarlin and Aethelflood, their faces, to see what's up.
I'm very loudly confronting her and shouting to everybody that she plans on selling the citizens here to a dragon.
I think you would have to do it without Tarlin's knowledge.
I'm making sure everybody in the tavern hears me saying this.
The patrons are suddenly distracted, but not by you, Tarlin. You hear gasps. That's when you don't have to roll perception. You all look in the direction of the door that has been opened.
Okay.
And you see something a little bit odd.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
You remember when you were fighting Gregoris and there was Cudgel and there was Becklin and there was a
Mhm.
stranger that you'd never met before
Yeah.
That
who entered
rando?
the city? He is holding the hideous severed blue head of Draconian, and draped over his shoulder is the silver Draconian that you've all managed to dispatch. And in your mind, Harlan,
Mhm.
you've been trying to figure out what these words mean, and you think you might have a correlation. Let me ask you this as a parting gift for such an eloquent display. What is more dangerous, a death of chaos or a death of silence? And that is where we will end tonight's session.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Oh.
Hmm.
So things are a little escalated now. So you do have some plans that you would like to fulfill to keep the city safe. And you do think that you are the best people to lead that charge. Now, Becklin and Cudgel have gone to investigate the size of this army. Two allies you don't have anymore in the city who also haven't seen this dragon, or have seen the dragon, but they're not present. You have Mayor Raven, who thinks that the only way to survive this encounter is to surrender immediately and allow the dragon armies to occupy the city, giving them access to a port they could use to perhaps go to other areas. This is a place of great import to them. And then you see this rando that you thought wasn't a problem or a big deal at all, who entered the city with you, holding the bodies of two Draconians. Oddly enough, these two Draconians had behavior upon their death that you had not seen before. And now, this guy is holding the severed head of one of those blue Draconians and also has draped over his shoulder the other one. And that's when you feel a familiar sensation. There were several times you felt like a weird arcane electric energy. Sense it. It happened repeatedly. You all feel it kind of coursing through your bodies right now. The hair on your neck or arms or hands might be standing up a little. This is a shocking scene, and what went from a very bad situation with the dragon to now a bad situation with the mayor, you have a sinking suspicion that whatever the fuck is going on right now is worse than all of it.
Oh, damn it.
Oh god.
So bad just got worse.
It's like all the shows I like to watch.
Good shit.
A lot of obstacles to overcome, but that's what adventurers do. So, and there are a lot of options with the mayor. Maybe you could try to convince her that fighting is the best option. Maybe you could kill her and take over the city. Also viable. You've been given a possible fetch quest to maybe investigate a smuggler who could help ferry people out of the city and possibly defend against the dragon should it try to stop you from doing so. You could fortify Thornwall Keep, and you could make some sort of machinery, weaponry that could help defend the city. On a little mine shaft, and that mine shaft could lead to God knows what. It could be very helpful. It could be very not good. Faraday is currently there, as far as you know.
The mines.
You sent him to the mines? Nice.
Yeah. Because if it did collapse, he wouldn't die. He's just metal, so I figured it was the safest option.
Okay.
Pretty smart.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Good shit.
Well,
Having taken so long, things have definitely ramped up in this session, so that's good.
Yeah, fantastic. I'll go ahead and stop the recording here.